One of the most common concerns that I hear from moms and moms-to-be is this fear of hurting their baby. What if I drop them? What if I forget them in the bathtub? What if I'm not looking and they choke? Okay, so this is exactly what I'm talking about today. My name is Kate Borsato. I'm a mental health therapist and I work with moms and moms-to-be, and I'm all about helping you create mental wellness and joy and ease in motherhood. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell so that you get notifications every time I post a new video, which is Wednesdays. So let's jump into today's video. All right, so you're here probably because you've had some of these scary, intrusive, disturbing thoughts. Is that a fair assumption? I think it's probably fair. Now, I've run workshops before where I've supported many women, hundreds of women who signed up because they're having scary thoughts. And I asked these women what categories these scary or intrusive thoughts fall into. So some of the common categories are around sickness and contamination. Some of them are around accidents. Some of them are about hurting your child on purpose. And then the fourth category is around sexual thoughts. And sometimes these just like blast into your mind. So those are kind of the main areas. And so when I asked these women, what kinds of thoughts are you having? The majority, like the large majority of the women said accidents or hurting my child on purpose. Okay, so this is actually really common. These scary thoughts are very, very common. People don't talk about them very often, okay? So I am here to change that. I want to just like shine a light on some of these challenges because they are not your fault. They don't mean anything bad about you. You are not a bad mom. You're not a dangerous mom. And you're certainly not alone in these, okay? So what we're really talking about here are what's called intrusive thoughts. That's kind of like the, technical term for what's happening. And basically intrusive thoughts are images or thoughts, sometimes even like scenes or almost like a movie scene in your mind that just flash into your consciousness. So these aren't things that you choose to think, right? Usually you would never choose to think these thoughts. They just like take over your mind and you can't help it, okay? So that's why we call them intrusive. You did not want them. They're like unwelcome visitors. If people were being really honest, 100% of people would admit that they have some intrusive thoughts at some point in their life. So it's actually really common. Intrusive thoughts themselves are not that big of a deal. The issue is what we do with them or how these thoughts impact your life, right? Two people might have exactly the same weird, scary thought. One person might just be like, oh, that's weird, and carry on with their day. The other person might think, oh gosh, what does this mean about me? Why did I have that thought? What am I going to do? And you can imagine how that just starts a cycle of anxiety and worry about that thought. So the thoughts themselves aren't that important, although I know they feel like they are. It's more about what you do next, okay? So I do have some other videos. Make sure you look around my YouTube videos because there's tons of information all about this, okay? But I want to talk a little bit more about this specific category. So for moms with young children or babies, this category of intrusive thoughts that's about hurting your child or them having an accident is so, so common. So some examples that I hear a lot in my counseling practice, that I hear about online, reading even in the research, there's lots and lots of examples of this, include things like dropping your baby, for example. So you might have a vision or an image of dropping them. Maybe even throwing your child. So it could be a purposeful thing. So throwing your child down the stairs. So I know many women will have this overwhelming feeling. Let's say that you're walking through your house and you get to the top of the stairs and you just have this instant image of, oh God, what if I threw my baby down the stairs? And it can feel absolutely terrifying, all right? Some women imagine their baby drowning or that they allow their baby to drown. So these are just thoughts, again, images and thoughts that just flash in. Sometimes there's objects around you that might create an intrusive thought. So maybe you see like a sharp object that just automatically creates this vision of cutting or stabbing or something like that. So I know this might sound surprising. It might sound sort of shocking, but it also might sound relieving because if this is your experience, it's really important to hear somebody else put words to it, right? It's really important for you to know that this comes up a lot. You are not alone. You are not weird. You're not crazy. You're not bad, okay? You are probably wondering though, well, what's the difference between somebody who thinks this, like myself who thinks this, versus somebody who actually does the thing? And I know that's the scariest part, but it's a simpler answer to come to than you might think. So ask yourself this simple question. When I imagine that thought coming true, I know you don't want to imagine it because it's awful, but imagine it for a second. If that thing came true, does that bring you calm? Does that help you? Does that make you feel good? Are you happy about it? Do you feel like, yeah, I'd be okay with that happening? Okay. Or is it awful? Is it disturbing? Does it make you sick? Does it make you stressed? I have a feeling it's the latter. Otherwise, you wouldn't have looked up this video. You wouldn't be learning about this, okay? If it's the first scenario, if these thoughts make you feel good and you want them to happen, then that's totally a different situation. It's a medical emergency. You absolutely have to call 911, tell somebody, get support. So if this is something you want, you need support, emergency support right away. Usually it's not what you want. Usually it's awful. And when that's the case, it's probably anxiety driven. So that's not to say that you have an anxiety disorder, but it's this state of anxiety and anxiousness and not being settled that can give way to these intrusive thoughts grabbing hold of you. So again, everybody experiences intrusive thoughts, but when you're in a state of overwhelm, sleep deprivation, high stress, which most moms are in when they have young kids, it just makes you more vulnerable so that these kinds of like faulty thinking patterns can take hold much more easily. So it's not that motherhood creates intrusive thoughts. It's that early motherhood is so freaking hard and tiring and exhausting and depleting that you don't have as many resources to manage all of these stressors. Sometimes though, if they're very severe, you might be dealing with an anxiety disorder. So I recommend, if this is a big problem in your life, then absolutely reach out to a therapist or a doctor, talk to somebody about them. I'd encourage you to find support with somebody who's trained in perinatal mental health, because sometimes you might come across people who don't really know much about this, but I will tell you that anybody trained in the perinatal profession knows about intrusive thoughts, okay? Trust me on that one. Now, there are some things that actually make these intrusive thoughts a lot worse. So the first is thinking that they mean something. So if you've already determined that these thoughts are not in alignment with what you want, if they are just awful, scary ideas and you would never want them, so you know you're safe if that's the case, right? If you continue to worry and make meaning about them and wonder, what does this mean about me? Does this mean I'm unsafe? Oh gosh, I have to put the knives away. I can't bathe my child. If you go into that and allow yourself to change your behavior to avoid that feeling, that's going to actually make the thoughts worse. So it's kind of the same as if I said to you right now, like, you can think about anything you want, but do not think about a houseplant. No, don't think about it. Do not think about a houseplant. Nothing. Don't do it. Anything but a houseplant. Like, you can't not think about a houseplant. You can't not think about something by telling yourself to stop thinking about it. Like, it just doesn't work. So the same thing happens with these intrusive thoughts. If you say like, oh God, don't think about drowning in the bath. Don't think about the bath. Don't think about the bath. That's the only thing on your mind. So pushing thoughts away does not work, okay? And it's hard because it might make you think like, well, then what choice do I have? But all you can do is remind yourself, this is about anxiety. This is about overwhelm, stress. This is not about me as a human, as a mother. This is just the fact that there's a lot going on in my life, okay? So remind yourself, this is just anxiety. Right? These thoughts don't mean anything. These thoughts don't make me a bad mom. I can still be the mom I want to be even though I'm having these thoughts, okay? So having scary thoughts might feel terrible, might feel awful, but it doesn't actually have to change the way you parent. It doesn't have to change the mom that you are. I think that's pretty cool, all right? So remind yourself of all the ways that you are a safe mom, that you are a good enough mom, that you are taking incredible care of your child. I have a hunch that you're probably even more cautious and even more safe than most parents because of these fears, right? So don't forget that. Don't discount all of the incredible things that you're doing. And above all, you need to tend to your overall well-being. So focusing on these thoughts is not the solution. You need to focus on all of the other areas of your life that are going to help you feel calm and grounded and well. And I know that might feel like abstract and a lot, and there is a lot to it. So I'm linking in this video at the bottom, I think in the descriptions and the comment section, I'm going to link to another resource that I have. So I've created a free workshop that anybody can take. You can sign up right now and go and watch the thing. And I dive way deeper into all of this, really explaining why you're having these thoughts, what it means, and how to actually solve them instead of just like worrying on the surface and trying to avoid them, because that doesn't work. So I want to show you exactly how you can stop this cycle and set yourself up to feel a little bit more ease and calm, because you really deserve it. Take really good care. Let me know if you have any questions about this video or about anything else. I love making videos that just support moms with exactly what they need. So let me know what you need. Let me know what you would love to learn, and I will do my best to create that for you. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I love to have you here and to support you in any way that I can. So talk to you soon. Thanks.